Isn't this the car that had brake problems for the...
Okay, that seemed healthy. It won't stay running now?
Same thing. Died on me.
And would probably throw less RFI. And this brake pad is totally in backwards. I don't know who put it in here or what. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick, and today we're working on Parker's 65 Mustang. Woo! Today we're going to be working on a leaking proportioning valve. We're not sure if it is stripped or if we have a bad flare or what exactly the issue is here. We're going to take everything apart and pray that it's an easy fix.
Please. Gotta find all my wrenches for this.
I'm like 95% sure it's the middle one, and we know it's leaking, so let's just...
So what do we want to do? Do we want to disconnect those to whole proportionate valve? So unscrew these?
All three at the bottom, and yeah, probably all four on top.
Don't worry about it, bro. Steal it.
Steal it. This steal it actually does finish really
It's insane,
nice,
bro.
dude.
It really is. Look at that, there's like actual threads sticking out of this thing.
Yeah.
On all of them. This is why I'm not allowed to put shit together like this. So literally all these threads are
National pipe thread. As usual, we don't have what we need.
time to go to the store. Again.
Mom Mobile to the rescue. Woo! Sure. But that's not what towing really is.
I know, I'm aware. I'm just saying, like, if it was like
Ford Ranger, bro.
If it was like from Ethan's Ethan's house to my house, it could be done.
Ford Ranger.
Yeah. I'll have you feed it to me. Ready?
Mama bird.
Okay.
You got it set on the right setting?
Yeah, 2. 2 gauge.
Oh, hang on. There. That's good. You having trouble finding the hole?
Yeah, I've always had trouble finding the hole. Ever since I was a wee lad.
All right, we got the new ground made and run.
Ditch this.
Pretty incognito back there. In fact, I can't even see it from here.
You can't even see it, dude. That's sick.
So this ugly temporary ground that we made worked totally fine, actually, but it's going away. Let's work on the progressive linkage, if that's agreeable. Let's figure out how this one comes off. It's got a cotter pin. Old cotter pin out. Just off throttle. Off throttle from the factory, these Holley Snipers are almost like an on-off switch. And the goal is to have it drive so that it has nice manners at off throttle, part throttle, when you're cruising, when you're getting on the freeway, when you're changing gears. And then when you get into it, it still opens to 100%.
Gotcha.
So this is called a progressive throttle linkage. And what this does, you can see if it goes in this different hole, it doesn't go in the same hole. And the way that the geometry change works, it goes to about 45% before it starts pulling the secondary.
Oh yeah, I see that.
With the old one, I'm going to stick the old one in there for just a second. With the old one in its hole, it's like immediate.
Yeah, wow.
So that'll give basically street manners, drivability. There's no performance benefit except you can actually shift gears when you're getting on and off the freeway at light speed. You don't have to drive it like you stole it 100% of the time. Once with this and once with my phone. Got a lot done today. Got that ugly ground removed. New ground at the back of the engine, you can't even see it. Did a little wiring cleanup because that was kind of bothering us. Took the proportioning valve off and discovered that it's stripped. Gonna have to get a new one of those. Not sure if it was a manufacturing defect or if we just used an excessive amount of brute force on it. We installed the progressive throttle linkage on the Holley Sniper setup, and this thing sounds really good. Also installed the PCV system, prettied it up a little bit, really basic, no catch can at the moment, running it kind of factory style, but it seems to have potentially solved our oil leak problem. Pulled up to John's place. He did a lot of cable management today. I'm gonna follow him over to Parker's place. We're probably gonna play with the cable management a little bit more, do some tuning and driving. Looks a whole lot better than that mess that we left.
Yeah. A couple hours of headache. Yeah, looks better.
And all these wires aren't laying on the spark plug wires now, so that's a lot better.
Yeah.
Randomly just died on us when we put it in gear, so let's see what happens. Okay, that seemed healthy. The AFR is a little on the lean side. It's not too bad.
Well, remember we wiped the fuel table.
I didn't see anything flash weird though. So why did it do that?
The ground?
Maybe.
The ignition?
Could be. Could be a bad connection. Could be that ground is the bad connection. There could be a different bad connection. Because like I was watching the TPS and I didn't see it move. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it might be that ground, honestly.
that should be the first thing that we try to fix.
Yeah.
Is get that. It wanted it on the engine.
Yeah?
That seems like a tuning issue. I am about to follow John back to Parker's house. We're taking it to Parker's house because Parker has more tools and just a lot better space to work on it, and they live really close to each other. So I'm going to follow John over there so that he has somebody behind him if it stalls and he can't get it to start or anything like that. It definitely seemed like an RFI issue before, where like radio interference or noise, however you want to refer to it as, was getting into the computer, into the ECU from the, probably from the ignition system. That's almost always where it's from. It's from the spark plug wires or something like that. So I'm about to follow him over there and we will tear into it a little more. Car does not want to go, apparently. It won't stay running now?
Same thing. Died on me in there, died on me right here. And then it dropped down and it was throwing the fucking, what's it called? 20% negative on throttle position.
Oh, it was throwing that?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what I can do at ground right now. That was a pain in the butt to move.
Yeah.
What was that, 13?
Probably. Coolant. That's why we didn't do it on the engine last time.
I feel like that should have been a good ground, but
I feel like it shouldn't have been that bad. As long as the ground from the engine to the battery is decent, I feel like that should not have been that bad.
It doesn't want it to the battery, it wants it straight to the...
It wants that one to the block because that's feeding the coil driver. So it's part of the ignition circuit with the spark plugs and everything, I think. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Take two. Trying to get the way on the GoPro that he does in person. I don't know, maybe it was just the ground. If it didn't do it at all on the way over here.
Yeah, nothing at all. The second we switched that over,
Because it was doing it a lot.
it was like noticeably a lot, but it was great. No problems.
So okay, you have a decent ground from the battery to the engine. Do you have a crappy ground from the battery to the body that would have allowed that to be a bad ground?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just playing. I'm just thinking.
No, I mean that's. I'd rather shoot as much options and theories we can in the air and see what it is.
But so the thing to do now would be to make a real ground for it instead of that wire twisted thing that you have.
No, yeah, that was just to get us over here.
And
Hey, it worked though,
well, no. We just need to put that wire from the Sniper to somewhere real.
Yeah.
Somewhere that's not on the strut tower at
On a aluminum bracket
45 p.m.
with 10 layers of
Yeah.
what's it called? Powder coating.
coat or whatever. Yeah, I was thinking the bolt would make decent contact underneath, but maybe it wasn't.
I mean, there's a lot of rust, it's a
Yeah, maybe it just wasn't getting a good ground.
85-year-old car.
Or maybe the body's not. I mean, obviously your stuff inside the car works fine, but maybe the body's not grounded super good to the battery. Or maybe from the body all the way to the engine
Well,
for that
it wants it to the
ignition
engine,
circuit
right?
is too much. That's what the instructions said was the engine. So the ideal thing would be to see if we can find somewhere to steal a bolt from Parker.
Right?
We're gonna steal a bolt from Parker.
Everything's moved over. It was a little nicer, but it happened twice on the way here.
Oh, I like
In
that.
my park,
I like that a lot more.
in my park, and then as I turned out of the park, the
You
car
can
died.
find somewhere for that on the engine. That's the ideal thing. So we got John's car over to Parker's, where I'm surrounded by Mustangs. The car seemed to do fine, so we're going to do a little cleanup on some grounds, take it on another test drive, and then we're going to switch over to Parker's car. We're going to work on the proportioning valve.
Oh, you bought a Wilwood proportion valve?
He's already putting on some coolant overflow hoses and some stuff that he's trying to tidy up and make look real pretty, and we'll just tear into it.
Why'd you shove this in with Hercules strength?
I didn't. I just put it in.
I know Nick will do something, I literally can't get it off.
I had it literally came off perfectly when I shoved it in, and I can't get it off right now. And I don't want to break the clip.
I didn't do nothing.
Oh no!
So we did two things to baby it over here on the side of the road. We made this janky ground, which
There's no we.
worked.
There's no we. Your work is better than mine. I did that.
Yeah, John did that. John did that. And
Yes, sir.
we took this and moved it. We're gonna put it back close to the coil now because it's prettier there.
Did I have it be? No, I had it like this, huh?
Yeah, it was just draped there. And it was just draped there, and the tack wire was kind of wrapped around. What do you know about AN hoses for your radiator overflow?
Yeah. For ground?
That's a touch most people don't do. All right, so digging into Parker's car. Remember the old proportioning valve was super stripped out. Threads are screwed up. Got the new one in. Took the hood off. Getting ready to put that in. Parker's gonna take that hood hinge out just so that we're not digging it into our chest the whole time. Guess what?
What?
We don't have everything we need.
Again, this is like a reoccurring trend on this channel.
Like the third time we've worked on this car in a row. So, where are we going? The parts store. Yay. Getting ready to bench bleed this master cylinder. We got it mounted in the vise. We're gonna put our little adapters we made in because we didn't have the adapters that came with this kit. Someone thought it was a good idea to throw all that stuff away once this was in the car.
Sounds like Parker.
I wasn't gonna name names, but it was Parker. So we made up these little adapters real quick. A piece of tubing that we scrapped before.
I think the Challenger's back.
Sounds like Garrett's getting here.
Yep.
Where's the other tube? There was another tube.
Did we lose it?
Maybe.
I'll look again.
Maybe I only grabbed one. Maybe we have
Imagine
to,
it only came with fucking one.
or maybe we have to cut it
You might have to.
because this is super long.
Oh, I see it.
Okay.
You want the little plastic thing too?
I grabbed one.
Oh, I see what you're saying. And then just slap her. And then what do? You're just gonna fucking pull down on that thing?
I'm gonna push on it.
Oh, you push in?
Yeah, push in. So basically, how this works is we're gonna fill this with fluid, and we're going to depress this. It's gonna force fluid and air out, and we'll just keep doing it until we get all the bubbles out. Then we'll take this whole lovely contraption over to the car, and at the car, we will one at a time connect them to the brake lines that are going to be on the car side. If you make a little bit of a mess, it's pretty unavoidable. It's how these things pretty much always go. So a little bit of a mess. Yours is gonna be yours just gonna be way more race.
His
I have
isn't,
feelings.
it used to be. He's upgraded a bunch
didn't.
of stuff, and I haven't driven
Yeah,
it
you're right.
since.
No,
But it used to be. It was literally like, you know,
They're just sitting in there
like
and
in
doing
the
nothing.
boat where
I thought
I
they were
think
taking a
they're
break.
drift.
hoping they're saying a prayer before they
Before
start.
they try it?
Is
Gotcha.
what's happening.
I think they should change the spark plug wires to the old ones that were cheap, modern, and probably had worse resistance, and would probably throw less RFI.
Yeah. So he's gonna never mind, drown himself in liquid courage.
Sorry.
Can't hurt my nose.
You just get out and use the towel. Or not. Or just get rid of something.
somewhere exactly.
I went to go see Gary at work. I'm one.
All right, we've got the master cylinder most of the way back in the car. We're gonna get the proportioning valve hooked back up to it, make a little bit of a mess, and then hopefully bleed brakes and take the car for a drive.
Yeah, hopefully. Like I said, hopefully.
Mine will slow down.
Yeah, with fences and trees and.
No, I thought it's second. Parker's been in the car before where he's done that.
At least this doesn't pull hard.
Slow down. Oh, look, a ditch.
At least this doesn't pull hard left anymore.
Yeah,
it is
big
a
facts,
Mustang.
Parker. Or Nick.
It
Big
is a
facts.
Mustang.
Yeah. Isn't this the car that had brake problems? And I'm like, yeah. Yes. And she goes, well, this is like a good friendship
Was she worried?
test.
Was she worried? Like,
She was like,
was she hella scared?
All right, wrapping up John's car. It's kind of fixed for the moment. We have the ignition leads from the distributor to the ECU wrapped in tin foil to shield them. These are what provide the Sniper with the ignition reference pulse. It tells the Sniper how fast the engine's turning and when to trigger the coil. And it's generally considered the most sensitive wires on the Holley Sniper, so it makes sense that having these wrapped in tin foil would actually fix it. John's gonna get some actual shielding and some nice loom and make this real pretty in the near future, but for the moment his car's no longer cutting out every 30 seconds and he can actually drive it, so that's a win. It's been ridiculous, but we think we finally have a leak-free brake system. We made a new stainless steel line. It's not bolted all the way back in yet, but it's on there. We have kind of half-assed bleeding it. Parker's currently working on just pumping the pedal to try to see if there's any air in it and try to force a leak if one's going to happen. We're probably about to bleed it a little bit more, and we really wanted to move this thing tonight. I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
oh, do you want two of them?
Yeah, because I can take the best parts of all of them and throw them together. We're good.
Just meet them together.
Go down. Yeah, go cycle. We're bleeding the brakes. I'm trying to get all the air out of the calipers. Garrett is looking for leaks.
Whatever's leaking is leaking off of your slave.
That shouldn't even have fluid in it.
Well, there's something dripping off of it. It's
I don't-
dripping off the line, though.
I don't want to know.
I'm confused. Is this thing supposed to push or pull?
It's a puller. Yeah. It pulls. The pedal pulls on it. I was just looking at this, and this brake pad is totally in backwards. I don't know who put it in here or what happened. I'm sure it wasn't me.
Test drive.
That's incredible.
I've seen that.
Don't look at me.
No, I've seen it twice. Not from an experienced veteran over here.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Unfortunately, in this video, we were not able to get Parker's car on the road. We had some trouble with the brakes. But in an upcoming video, we will overcome that, and you'll see us drive the car at least up and down the street for its first trip. There's a lot more that's going to happen with the car, and if you want to see it, be sure to like and subscribe to this video, and let me know in the comments if you like this type of content and what other types of content you'd like to see. Thanks for watching.